Oh, Ruth, good to see you here,
Thanks for
mate.
having me. Good to see you too. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. It's not too far away.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Happy
Yeah.
Christmas. And for anyone who's not aware of what you do, for example, how would you describe yourself?
I think I'm an SEO. I still hold that title. I think a lot of people are SEOs like to label, right? And we like to rebrand ourselves. But I think I am an SEO and I had an agency, which I've sold, and then a teaching platform,
Congratulations.
and then a software called Page Optimizer Pro. It's quite simply you put in the page you want to rank and we tell you the words that Google wants to see.
Do you know what's interesting is like how many people sell their agencies and never look back?
I'm not sure how many people actually sell their agencies, to be perfectly honest with you. But I think there is a lot of not looking back that happens.
Do you miss those days, or
Uh,
would you say that's one of the most stressful businesses you've run?
the problem is I like it and I'm good at it. Like I think I'm good at agency SEO. Um, but yeah, the headaches that come with it are significant. But it's still a viable business, and it's still not even just viable. I think it's very profitable business and something you can do. And I mean, we started with just my business partner and I and one VA, and Andy, he's Australian, but he was living in Berlin at the time, and I was just outside San Francisco, and our VA was in Rome. So we definitely had three corporate offices in multiple continents because Andy used his Australian address. We used, I think, Rome or Berlin, I can't remember, and then me in San Francisco. So we had offices in Berlin and San Francisco and Melbourne. We're international. Those
So
those were
international,
the
man.
times.
Global
Those were the
domination.
times.
Where do you think we're at in 20, it's 2026 probably when most people will be listening to this. Where are we at with SEO? Because it's changed so much since ChatGPT came out,
I
right?
think it has. I think ChatGPT just offered one more KPI more than anything, and then tools that you can maybe do things a little bit faster. But basically, all the techniques like to get into like LLM searching are just SEO techniques. The core algorithm hasn't changed. There are different, you know, locations you can get your information in, like with the AI overviews, but that's really just featured Sim 2.0 in my mind. So really, not much has changed. Really, just there's been more opportunity. But you can see change as a negative, I guess, in that sense. Like, hey, there are these new things, and a lot of people do see it as a negative. But anytime I see that, I just see those are just more KPIs. That's more stuff to figure out.
That makes
That's more
sense.
ways to get
Yeah,
visibility and make money.
I see it like not so much the way that SEO is done has changed because we still use the technology and the tools that we used years ago,
Yeah.
really, for doing SEO, but it's more like the market and who does SEO and who delivers SEO.
Mhm.
It's totally changed, I think, in my eyes. Like we saw the purge of people getting wiped out in 2023. A lot of agencies shut down as well.
Great purge. Yeah, that was end of 2023 with HCU, and then the March Core in 2024. But that really destroyed affiliates more than anything. And affiliates did buy a disproportionate amount of products and services, for sure. And losing that segment was not a good thing for people that are SEO service providers or people that have SEO tools. But since then, we're 2 years removed now from that, more. And I think I see those affiliate people coming back in a slightly different form. But who was never touched by any of that was local business, actual business, e-com. Those kind of people never were touched. And their businesses have continued to grow. And a lot of them, especially like a lot of local business, like some mom and pops, with maybe a slight economic downturn, don't quite have the marketing budgets that they may have had before, but they still have the marketing needs. And being able to provide to them has been hugely beneficial to myself and my team over the last year.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. What sort of tools are you using for SEO?
You gotta, you gotta use Page Optimizer Pro. Now, you need an on-page tool because you still need the counts. And actually, it's become more important. I've shown this a bunch where LLMs don't know how to write, turns out. Um, that's the best part of the whole thing. It's such a scam where a large language model doesn't understand English language. Um, that's a fantastic.
What way?
They don't
Explain
they
this
don't
one.
add in contextual terms. They don't understand how to put in the terms that give words context and meaning. And this is a huge factor that Google and other search engines need. A big component of how they process things is through these contextual terms. And the LLMs are woefully low on them. And I think they will continue because it's not really, they're not trying to do SEO. That isn't what their purpose is at all. We're trying to take this tool and kind of wedge it into what we want to do. But it's not designed out of the box for SEO purposes. And it takes a lot of work. And this is why people get hit by using AI. They've got, a site with 500 pages on it, and then they get the bright idea of throwing 500 AI pages on there, and those pages are all woefully under optimized. And it's not that Google hates the AI, it's Google hates their content. That it essentially is not good content in Google's eyes, and then they devalue that content and they look like, hey, this site has, 50% of its pages are garbage. Then they start to devalue the whole site, and then sites get hit. I've seen a bunch of these sites, in June. That update really seemed to go after a lot of sites that were using AI content. And every time I run those sites through my tool, and I'm sure other tools are showing the same thing, their contextual terms just are so inadequate. And so as a result, people rely on these things thinking that they can do SEO with them, and they cannot. It's a tool to create content faster, but you still need to be the expert and understand what that content should look like. What is it that Google's actually looking for? And surprise, surprise, Google hasn't changed their algorithm. They're still looking for those same things they were looking for before. And when they don't see them, then they devalue the content, and then the site gets hit.
You think the Google cares about AI content at this
No,
point?
they don't have to. That's the best part. They don't have to run anything extra to determine if it's AI generated or not. I don't think they care at all. What they're looking for is something that's adding to the conversation, something that should be in the conversation. And when they can evaluate the content and see that it doesn't have the terms they're looking for, then they know that that's garbage.
So how can SEOs leverage AI in the right way? Like, is it a case of adapting the prompts? Is it a case of training the AI? What do
Yeah,
you
I mean,
think?
you can, yeah, you have to be able to prompt it to use the terms, but you also need to know what those terms are. Um, and I think maybe the people that were intuitively doing SEO and then their intuition into AI probably hasn't been as successful as they were hoping it would be. Where you definitely need to be a lot more math based on this and a lot more um, conscious of what the output should actually look like or what it actually looks like to a search engine. And I'm like, man, this test looks pretty and it reads pretty well, but that's great. But if a search engine can't parse it and understand what it's talking about, then it's you might as well have done nothing.
That makes sense. And what do you think are the skills that SEO should be developing right now?
Well, I mean, I don't see too much difference. We were talking about this before the call. Like to get an LLM insertion is just SEO. Slight tweaks. You still need to know what you're doing. You still need to know what HTML is. You still need to know, how to interlink. Man, interlinking has been so huge for me in 2025, and I don't know. I'm very fortunate. I get to consult with people, and one of the first things I'm looking at, I'm like, well, how are you deciding how you're going to do your interlinking here? Like, what's the strategy going for? Are you doing this kind of a strategy or that kind of a strategy? What are you doing? And by and large, the strategy that most people employ is willy nilly. Like they are just, there's no purpose to the content. They couldn't tell you why they created the content. They don't know why that's there. And then they couldn't tell you why they're linking to anything. And so it's like just because you can create a lot of content, which can be very valuable to a site, it's like, well, we can create all this content, so why don't we create all this content? And then they've missed out on foundational things as to what's the purpose of this content on the site. You should be able to identify a singular reason for a piece of content to go up. And then, how are you supporting that content? What other pieces of content are you going to create to support that? And then usually you've lost most people at that point. And then you get into like just how are these things linked together? Though they're like, well, I don't know. I just started doing links. What else am I supposed to do? I'm like, okay, all right. So yeah, it often comes down to that foundational stuff, man. It's the basic stuff you need to know, and then you can build on top of that. Then you can use tools that can maybe automate things for you or speed them up. But that's all that they do is speed things up. The I think I used this joke the last time I was on with you is uh if you're bad at SEO, AI is just going to help you do bad SEO faster. That's the bottom that's the bottom line. That's all it does for you. It only enhances what you already have. And if you're not good at SEO, AI is really going to make it stand out quickly for you.
Yeah, it accelerates how badly you do it.
It amplifies it. Like it makes it glaringly obvious how bad you are at it.
I feel like it's always the fundamentals that people
First
skip,
thing,
and it's because all the other stuff is more
it's
shiny and
so pretty and
interesting. It's
cool.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like before people even think about building backlinks, trying to figure out semantic SEO.
You know, semantic SEO. And by the way, I love the semantic SEO guys, and we have a lot in common on how we think about SEO.
Yeah, of
But
course. Yeah.
man, there are other things to think about before you get into the weeds. There, get a topical understanding of what they're doing. You know, topical maps are great. Topical clustering is great. I do a lot with that myself. But get that foundational stuff. Take it as a foundation. Build on it from there before you get really into the weeds on it.
What do you think the biggest lie is sold in SEO marketing?
Anyone can do it.
That's my fault.
Yeah, you are
That's me on
you are
YouTube
the
saying anyone
lead
can do
contributor.
it.
On the one hand, you think like, well, I guess they could, but on the other hand, I definitely don't want them to. I don't need all the extra competition. But just like with any skill, have you ever like heard people say something like, anybody can wait tables, and then you have a pretty horrible
Mm.
experience with somebody that clearly has no idea how to wait tables? It's the same thing. All the different professions, different jobs require different skills, and you know, just like with that, not everybody's suited for this magical, wonderful ride that we call SEO.
I think the interesting thing about that is like, if you look at marketing just in general, if we zoom out a little bit, it's like you have to break the limiting beliefs that people have if you're going to get them to watch your content and actually use it and get value from it. But at the same time, sometimes that gets misinterpreted, or sometimes we as marketers push it too far, right?
I think to that point, we get lost in our own shiny objects on like, hey, we got to push the limit, we got to disrupt this or that. But sure, you disrupt within a framework of something that actually works. You can vary the accoutrement, but the things on the outside, but the things that the meat of it still has to have some foundational purpose, and a lot of that stuff it goes back decades and decades of marketing and marketing psychology and marketing knowledge, and then SEO is kind of one facet of that, of how you can then take that information and that knowledge and apply it in a way that can be effective marketing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Do you think SEO is becoming easier or harder?
Uh, so I started SEO in 2012. I don't know what you did, but I distinctly remember in 2012, I was at a conference and somebody was like, "Man, do you remember SEO in 2010? It was just so easy." And then in 2014, I remember somebody saying like, "Man, do you remember SEO in 2012? It was just so easy." And then in 2016, "Do you remember SEO in 2014? Man, we had it so easy back then." And I think it's just SEO. It is how it goes. You have to be aware of what you're doing. You have to have a plan. Most people don't even have a 3 month plan. I don't know how you're going to think that SEO is easy in any decade, at any time period, if you don't really have a plan and you're just flying by the seat of your pants and waking up one day and deciding to try something new. So no, I think it's the same. I think it's just being aware of what's going on. But this has been the same complaint that I've heard every year, that now it's so hard, but before it was so easy. They'll tell you like, in 2020 you could just throw up anything and it would just rank. But I heard people in 2020 saying how that was gone, and those were the good old days of 2018. So I think it's all the same.
I think I heard a good definition, which is nostalgia is just memory minus
I
pain.
think that's pretty true. You don't remember the bad, do you?
Yeah, you don't remember the pain, you don't remember the hard work, you don't remember all the problems that you had, all the frustrations.
Imagine, like if you're a second child or lower, it's a good thing that your mother forgot, like how painful and terrible that experience was. Because from the outside looking in, pregnancy does not look terribly fun. And then you have that little birth part at the end, and then you get this little demon. That's the best part. If your partner is pregnant, and was like, oh, especially your first child, like, oh, it's so beautiful and wonderful, and then the moment your child is born, they're like, welcome to hell. And that's but somehow parents forget all of that, especially the mothers forget all that, and then now they've got like 2 or 3 siblings.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it. I think it's the same with business, right? It's like the good old days of you grinding it out and starting from nothing, where seemed like the golden age, but actually back then you didn't know. Okay, is this going to work out? Are you actually going to figure this out? Do you even know what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, the foolishness you have to be an entrepreneur is insane. And then like, but everyone's the hero of their own story and everyone's story is linear, right? So you always think of like we were here and now we're here, but you really forget about these swings in between or some of those sleepless nights or times when things just weren't going well or people are mad at you and you don't know how to fix it and but that all seems to blur into the success story because you made it out at the end, right?
Yeah, 100%. Coming back to SEO, do you use any other, sort of slightly different techniques to say rank inside AI? So, for example, a lot of people are using
Yeah,
listicles
yeah, for
right
sure.
now.
Yeah, that kind of stuff will definitely work. I really rely a lot on Search Console data. Yeah, I think it's one of the cleaner. All data is bad data, and some is worse than others. But overall, I think it's as consistent as you can get. And you really just you want to find a tool and benchmark. Like you could be down with SERP Robot. That's totally fine. Just stay with that though. Don't like change, things because you've got benchmarks. You understand how things move in that, and just stay with that. Stick with one tool and how you're evaluating things. But I have seen some people show how to get like AI overview information, like on clicks and keywords through scripts in Google Analytics. So I've started to look at that a little bit more to see if there's good information that can be gleaned there on like what people are actually searching that cause the AI overviews to appear, and maybe questions we can answer and stuff like that that might be a little beyond what you would get from a standard tool. But a lot of it is just using the data out of analytics and Search Console and filtering it the way that I want to see it.
How does that work? Like when you're tracking it from analytics, for example.
I got a guy for that. But definitely, I know it's possible to use the. There's a you can see that the link that they append when you click through on the overviews, and then you can set up things to check that within GA to find those URLs that they've appended, and then you can see what the search terms were. Now, how to actually implement that's not my job. It's, that's not my job at all. But I'll look at the data.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. How do you see people in terms of search behaviors? Do you think that's going to change at all? Or people are just going to be using Google, or what's your take on that?
The one thing that Google is claiming is, I guess, their revenue's up, right? And they're saying the search is up. And what they point to is that in the AI overviews, people see answers and then they refine their search based on those answers, and that they also then get more acquainted with brands. And so brands will get more direct traffic, and then also more search happens because people are searching better, I think is the argument that they're making on search. Google still has such a hammer lock on the overall percentage of search. And I think people are learning that ChatGTP is not the best search engine because it's not really a search engine. Um, and I think people do like not counterpoints, but confirmation. And I think it's disturbing to see one answer and then just you rely on that one time and it goes horribly wrong. You're not going to do that again. Whereas within a multi-search result kind of field, that gives you an opportunity to compare, and see like if this information is actually trustworthy and worthwhile and accurate. So I don't see things changing too much in the near future. I imagine Google's probably going to try to play with other things. It looks like overviews might be here to stay, though. I was kind of hoping they might peel that back a little bit or tweak it slightly, but and they might look to monetize it more. Maybe there's going to be some opportunities there, but otherwise, 2026 I don't think is going to be much different than 2025 in terms of search. I do think my bold prediction is LLMs are going to have to change. They're going to hit their limitations, and they're not going to be able to do the things that people want them to do going forward. And it's going to require different models. Some different models going to be out there that's going to arrive, and I think disrupt the AI LLM movement, and that might provide different things. But as it goes right now, I don't know how far away that might be, but I don't think it's going to come anytime soon because people do seem to be investing a lot into the LLMs and the powers that be. When they invest billions, they do like to see a return on those billions, and so I don't think they're going to be very pleased about some other technology coming up and potentially hurting that investment. So I think we'll be all right. I think it was similar, and I'll see where things go from there.
I mean, everything that I've seen apart from the LLMs as well just doesn't really
Eh,
work. Like, for example, you've got like these AI agent browsers, you've got things like ChatGPT Atlas, you've
yep,
got Chrome extensions that you can use the browser for you, but they're just kind of,
not quite there, right?
you wouldn't use them more than
And
once. They're fun to play with,
do you know
that's
how many
it.
extensions my dad has installed right now? Zero. Like to get him to he wouldn't even
Yeah.
know how to do it. He wouldn't even know where to go to find an extension. And so for him to say like, all you need to do, buddy, is get this one extension and then you sync it with this and you do it with that, you've lost him. You know, he has no desire to do that sort of thing. Whereas we're nerds and we're happy to do that, and because we feel like we're gaming something or it's, it's fun and interesting, and we're going to get some edge on something. But the average consumer doesn't care about that at all, and I don't think they would ever adopt that as a go-to policy.
The thing, isn't it? It's like, everyone has, even if the technology is amazing, it's like, can you change their behavior? For example, everyone needs to learn something, usually for their career or whatever. And maybe, you've got things like ChatGPT or NotebookLM or Gemini that are some of the most powerful tools in the world for free that can help you do that. But 99% of people are not going to use it
Eh,
for that.
Yeah, definitely not. There has to be a real reason, a real compelling reason. Why should I change my behavior? I've been doing it this way for X number of years and it's worked fine. Not even fine. I like it. It's worked very well for me. What better thing is this going to bring to the table? And if it's not bringing anything to the table, then they're not going to do it.
What's the most expensive SEO mistake you've personally made?
I mean, we've invested in some features that I think approximately four people have used. Or like, where I think, oh man, this is gonna be a game changer, and everyone's gonna want to use. And you put like 30,000 into it, and then you realize I think there are four people consistently using this. In the year 2047, we might recoup our money on that one. In terms of overall usage. So maybe those are some of my bigger, at least dollar value mistakes for sure.
The interesting thing, isn't it, with software? It's like, for example, I was at the school games recently, and Sam Ovens was there. The guy who designed school and everything else, and he was talking about how he tries to make everything perfect, which means he literally can't create many features at all. And so, like, because it's so simple, it works so well.
Sure.
And I think that's something he's probably learned the hard way.
Yeah, I can see that. We do. I mean, they always talk about like listen to your consumers and create features that way, but people are idiots. Often they don't even know what they want.
They don't know
No,
what they,
and often some
yeah.
of their ideas are terrible. I've had some people like, and some ideas we've gotten from our users have been fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Like, oh, that makes sense. Sometimes though they've got these ideas on how things should work, and it's like, man, I don't think there's a market fit here. On the other times, we've created features that nobody else has had, and they've gone off really well. Where like we were ahead of the market and created a feature that people didn't realize they needed, and then when they saw it, they used it a lot. So I don't know. Uh, it's a hard one when you're building out features. It's also the idea of put out something imperfect and then tweak it, especially on feedback from users. That's a way to do it. A Kaizen type approach where you're constantly iterating, or this approach where you create two things or three things and just make them as perfect as possible. Yeah, there's valid ways to handle them. It probably depends on the market you're in specifically and what your users are expecting, and maybe price point as well.
A lot of people as well, like they've switched fully to just using Claude or using ChatGPT to create content directly instead of these AI SEO tools. I've certainly seen, for example, like, do you remember Jarvis or Jasper?
Yeah, remember how they were?
That was being used by
Yeah, they were going to take over the world, and then like 1 month later, after they got that round of crazy amount of investment, it was basically off the face of the earth.
I don't know anyone that
No,
uses it. Like literally no one.
man, they take it over though. That was that 2023, 2022,
Yeah,
2023.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they were. This is it. It's over. The one thing they did do is they killed the Filipino content farms. That went away. That was effective. So those businesses went away instantly. But I'm not sure that had much of an impact beyond that.
I mean, there were some big agencies that shut down, right? Who were only focused on
Like that
content.
three,
I
like
mean,
the
like for
like the one
example,
cent
for
a word
us,
kind of people, 2 cents a word. That all went away like overnight.
yeah, yeah, that's it. I mean, we actually this year, our agency, we were still providing human content for some clients who want it. Now we've pretty much cut back. Like we don't use our supplier at all, pretty much. maybe for like a few projects a month. And so like his earnings have gone from like probably 90% down this year from us, whereas we were his best client, and that's mainly due to AI.
For sure. Niche content still works, like where you have to have specialized information on what you're writing about. Uh, Even like YMYL stuff, I would not trust to any kind of AI on, here, take these supplements. It's good for you. Like that kind of, that's a straight path to a lawsuit, I think. Um, I do see a lot of people using AI content as kind of like the first draft. That goes to, so rather than having like a team of writers, you have a handful of content editors, and then they're editing the stuff that's coming out of AI for tone and brand and accuracy and stuff like that.
One thing that's worked really well for us is like we take the YouTube
Mm.
transcripts and then we plug those into Claude and create blog posts out
Sure.
of them. And then that tends to do really well algorithmically inside the
Okay.
platform, but then also rank inside Google
I
as
like that.
well.
And the information is going to be good because it's coming off of an interview, right? So it's somebody that presumably knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's first hand as well. It's like first hand
Yeah.
data. So I think that's the main point. It's
Yeah, I like
like,
that.
it's not
I like
generic
that a
fluff.
lot.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah.
smart. Yeah, that kind of goes to also
Thanks.
one thing that AI does really well for you is to take one piece of content that you've done and get it across multiple platforms quite quickly. Where if you've got, say, an interview like this, that can then turn into a blog post, that can turn into reels, that can turn into TikToks and shorts and stuff like that. Uh, Chop up the videos into parts, turn it into, a video series that people need to give an email address for. So all of that can be done, I think, relatively quickly with AI, and it's not too bad.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. That's actually something we do is like, we'll put out 100 pieces of content a day,
Jeez.
and it just comes from like, one video.
That's cool. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a lot of content going up. Do you are you getting traction on other
If,
platforms like say TikTok?
yeah, TikTok we're pretty bad at. I mean, I have a personal TikTok that does pretty well, but I think
What do you talk about?
for normal TikTok we don't.
Like for your personal one?
Oh, it's just
Are you like
like
into some weird hobby?
it'll be my personal assistant. Like I try not to look at it because I don't want to cringe too
Yeah.
much.
It's like Julian
But
discusses
it'll be
cheese or
like
something.
my pet. So we'll do. She'll like my personal assistant. She'll just say, "Okay, do this," or
Okay.
dance like this, listen to this music from Isan, and then we'll record that. And then I think we do get a lot of traction on other platforms,
Okay.
like for example, personal TikTok. I think we get like 500,000 views a month
That's amazing.
on my on Instagram we get 1.6 million on my
That's
personal,
insane.
which is pretty good.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, Twitter
I would dance. I would
Twitter
dance
is
for
like
anything.
6
For
million.
that.
Well, mate, whatever it takes, right? Like you got to do what you got to do. I don't
No,
judge. You do what you
need
need
feet
to.
pics. I can do feet pics.
Hey, you want me to be a dancing monkey? No problem at all.
Done. Uh,
Get the
I wouldn't.
bananas.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's your other personal channel. Like you go through like fruit markets. Julian discusses fruit.
There was one where, yeah, exactly. Julian discusses fruit. No problem.
So good. I would be so happy if you just had some like random hobby and that's what your personal one is. It's like, well, I am really good at SEO and AI and all that. What I really want to talk about is horticulturally. Just all the
Yeah,
plants that you're
what
putting
I'm
together.
obsessed about. What I'm obsessed about is reviewing durian.
There you
Yeah.
go. Oh, that'd be so good. Like, or like you're into Warhammer or something and it's like you painting your figurines. Oh, that'd be great.
I should do a live stream like that. Hey guys, today we're doing something totally different.
And we told you that every once in a while I get the idea in my head, especially when I'm a little frustrated, where I'm just gonna walk out on stage and instead of doing my prezzo, I'm gonna juggle for about 3 minutes, catch the ball, not say a word, bow, and like walk off stage.
I would
I
watch that.
think it would
Yeah,
crush
especially
because I'm
especially the
I'm actually
bow.
really good at juggling too.
Oh,
I've
there
got
we
move.
go.
I've got move.
So Chiang
I
Mai
got moves and
SEO.
everything. 3 balls though. I can't do 4.
That's pretty impressive still. I think that's better than 99% of people.
So
Have you ever thought about joining the circus?
it's crossed my mind, and now things aren't going well in the business. I'm like, man, I wish like a traveling crew. troop was on its way through right now. I could probably join them and find my fortune. That'd be great.
Just
Yeah.
jump in. Yeah. Yeah, so like Twitter as well, we get about 6 million
Jesus,
a month.
that is a lot.
And then yeah, do you know this is working extremely well right now, which is Facebook organic. It's wild. We get 100,000 views
What is
a day
Facebook organic?
on
Like people
Facebook.
searching in Facebook to find niches and information?
Yeah, so for example, like it would actually promote, if your content is relevant, it'll
I
promote your
see.
content to
Sure.
people who
Okay.
want it, and it's like wide
Huh.
open. So, for example, if I do a video on a live stream on YouTube, I'll get a few reactions, but most of the reactions come from Facebook
Like even like on a replay of it or as a live thing on it?
as a live, and then yeah, we post the videos on replay as well, and that works well.
You still do a lot with email outreach as well. Are you finding that to be? I've had a lot of people ask me recently if they thought that email was still a viable medium. I think so. I think we get sales out of it, but what do you think on that? I'm interviewing you. I'm interviewing you now. Let's find out what you have to.
Yeah, so I mean, like for actual outreach to other people to get clients, we don't really do that. Like we just do that for link building, and that's it. And then for inbound marketing is insane. It is by far the best. I've seen your emails for Pop as well, so I assume you're killing it on email as well.
Yeah, we're liking it. We're liking the results on it. We're gonna tweak it a little bit because we did want to use it more for lead generation, and that's been so-so. It's not bad. It's been so-so, but that's like cold email outreach has been not bad. The but when it's warm or it's to your list, that's just the way. That's huge.
If I was you, I mean, like you probably already thought about how you would do it, but if I was in your position, first thing I would do, I would set up a free school community about SEO.
Okay.
And I would just, every single video tutorial, every single post, just link back to your tool. You would crush. Because, like, for example, our community on school, the Air Profit Boardroom, we grew it from like 0 this year to $90,000 a month.
Yo.
And it was most of it was from the free school to the paid group. Just creating a community.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And on that, on the school platform is how you just kind of started and went from there.
Yeah, exactly. At first, it was like, I don't really want to do this. It feels like a distraction. And now it's like, let's do this as much as we can. Like this is a one-person business with no agency stress.
What kind of ticket items are you selling at? Like how expensive is the sale?
Very cheap. So it's kind of like a Netflix for AI. So the for B2B, it's like $49 a month subscription. And then we also have a option to buy annual, and it's like $3.99.
Okay.
And the thing is, it's kind of like, it's really interesting with school because you've got their attention, they're part of a community, they feel part of a tribe.
Right.
So like, it's a very close connection, but it's very scalable. We have 1,900 members in there. And then the final thing I would say on that is,
may have seen a ghost or somebody in a
we don't-
bathrobe walk behind you, just FYI.
that's my mom. I should close the door really. One sec.
It caught my eye the first time, and I was like, "Did I?" And I like, "Oh yeah, definitely."
It could be a ghost. It could be.
I mean,
I'm not
places in the UK are pretty old. They're
Yeah.
pretty haunted.
That's it. This house itself is over 100
There you go.
years old.
Lots of ghosts.
For sure.
Especially if you're in talking to Thai people, they'd be like, "There's 100% ghosts in there."
Oh yeah, yeah. They wouldn't like that. I think they don't like Santitam, right? Santitam's full of old places and ghosts and all that sort of thing.
I didn't know that was the spot. Well, Niman is such a new location that I don't think it had time for ghosts. But Santitam has actually been built up for a while, I believe.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, coming back
Sorry,
to
you said
school,
you had one final
the
point
other
to
thing
make, and I just didn't want anything embarrassing to watch.
the ultimate cliffhanger for YouTube watch time.
Yeah.
So yeah, the final thing I was going to say on that was like, I'm not even good at getting LTV. So for example, like there's probably so many upsells that I could add, lifetime offers inside there, etc., high ticket offers. It's like we're barely scratching the surface of what we can do here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting.
And I guess the platform's pretty easy to use and all that too. This is turning into a school pitch real quick.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry for trying to
No,
convert
I'm
you.
converted. I'm in. I'm in right now.
I should be an affiliate.
You should.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, yeah. Just on a final note, what question do you wish people would ask you but never do?
I want to talk about my passion for fruit. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Nobody
Nobody
asks
asks.
me. Why doesn't
Nobody
anyone ask me?
asks. I don't know. I get asked so many questions, man. I think I've been asked. I don't think, I don't think there's anything.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I can
I don't
imagine.
know. I think I've been asked.
I'm, I, for anyone watching, like you are, I would say probably the best public speaker I've seen in
Oh,
SEO.
thank you. I do like to talk about that, by the way. If you want to talk
Uh,
about speechcraft, I really, because I study speechcraft, like, and I study people that do talks, and I study how to put a talk together, and how long things should be, and when you need to have different breaks and emotional shifts and stuff like that, and what resonates and what doesn't. So I really enjoy talking about putting a talk together. If anybody needs help putting a talk together, I'd be more than happy to chat with you, and I'll give you 10 minutes or 15 minutes to go through your notes.
how much time do you dedicate to coming up with those
To do one
speeches?
of my big ones, like Chiang Mai SEO one, that usually takes about 2 months to write. I write though, and you know,
Wow.
because you have to, they're kind of different parts that come together, and there's no linear way to do it. But you kind of have some things you want to talk about. There's a point you want to make, and then you want to make it interesting, or at least I do. So then you have to have your interesting points that go along with it. But usually, I do like to start at the end in terms of like, how do I want people to feel walking out of here? Do I want them to feel encouraged? Do I want them to feel challenged? Do I want them to feel optimistic? Those kind of things. And so that'll often then help me work my way back through on a talk in terms of the pacing and what I want to bring up and what I want to talk about. Um, so you kind of want to think, how should the audience feel when they walk out of this? Because the most important thing to remember is, as soon as they walk out the door from the auditorium, they will never remember a word you said. That's that's gone. And especially like as soon as like in the car on the way to the airport, it's gone. But they will remember how they felt. They will remember that. And so the most important thing to focus on then is, how do you want them to feel? Because that's all that they will remember. Um, I've had people come up to me and, I saw you speak 6 years ago. It was so amazing. I can't remember a word you said, but I just remember feeling so excited. When I walked out, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate that, because that's what I was going for." And so you need to think about that most, because that's the only thing anybody's going to remember, is how they felt in your talk. And then work from there.
It's so fascinating because, like, I think from a speaker's perspective, sometimes you fall into the trap of like, I just want to give people as much value as
Yep.
I can.
They don't remember the nuggets.
But really, the value comes from like the belief shifts,
Yeah,
doesn't it? It comes from how they feel and changing their
absolutely.
state.
They're going to get plenty of nuggets, and your talk should have nuggets. You should have things that are interesting, or in terms of, or valuable in terms of like maybe practical application. But they're not going to do it. They're not going to apply one thing, and because they're not going to get there, and they hear a bunch of other good ideas, and hopefully they latch on to one thing that they've heard, or two things, and then they can implement from the conference. That's usually what keeps them coming back to conferences. But they will really remember how they felt listening to you talk. And I really try to be respectful of people's time. I know it takes a lot of energy and resources and money to get to conferences, and it's a privilege to be on stage talking to people. And so I want to be as respectful as I can to give them an experience. The last thing too, like when people often get into a lot of value, often those talks really should have been a blog post. You know, they could have just read it. And it's like, people come to a conference for an actual experience. And so you have to be conscious of the idea that they came here to have a physical experience and an actual response. And so you want to make sure that you provide that physical experience. And I'd also say, if you're not funny, don't try to be funny. if if you're not good at telling stories, don't try to tell a story. But if you are good at those things, then those should be added in. But there's always something about you and your personality that can make your talk unique, and then you can weave your nuggets in and out of that, and then talk about things you like. As you've seen me speak, I like to talk about kind of science stories from history, historical science, philosophy, stuff like that. I really enjoy, and that's because I read it. I read it regularly. I enjoy this, and so when I tell those are stories that I really like, and I can relate to them, and I think I can do my content in a way that makes it very relatable, and in my mind, it makes it interesting. and you can feel good at the end of the talk. But if that's not your thing, telling historical science stories about, Edmund Halley, who's my favorite scientist of all time, I care about Edmund and I want to preserve his legacy. And so I'm happy to tell a story about him. But if that's not your jam, don't do that. But there's probably something that is your jam, like your time at the fruit markets. You can talk about all the, you could weave that. I could do so well with something like that, like a rando hobby. That could be your whole thing, and people would love it.
It's just, it was inspiring me that because I was thinking about, I do live streams every day on YouTube and I prepare the content and I'm always tweaking this, the Claude project that I use to generate
Mm.
the notes and everything else like that. And you get better and you get better and you add another layer of paint,
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
process and you add improvements across it. But one thing I was thinking was, well, actually, I could take what's unique about
yeah.
me, what I'm interested in, and then plug that into the project,
100%.
and that would be 10 times
100%.
better.
And it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be, again, it doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be life changing. It doesn't have to be anything, but there's probably something that you're interested in that you could weave in, and people are going to feel that you're interested in it. And it's going to make your content more relatable. To make you more relatable. People buy from people. And so they want to buy from somebody that they like and they're interested in and that seem human and transparent and honest. And those kind of things all add into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to say was like, when you're presenting as well, I know you're talking about the way people feel, but one thing I've started doing recently, and this works like beautifully, especially if you want to sell, you probably do this already, is breaking people's beliefs.
Mm,
So like the old way, or like you probably think this, but you're wrong because of
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Do you integrate like anything like that into your content as
Uh,
well?
so if you're trying to challenge them, I don't know that a 30-minute talk is going to rock anybody's belief system to the core, but in, a month's worth of content of yours, probably. What I mean? When you have,
That's it. I just keep
yeah,
chiseling
yeah,
them
yeah, yeah,
down
yeah, just
day
to
by
grind them
day.
down. But seriously though, like, because then they will come to your way of thinking. But I don't know if one talk is enough to do that. Maybe, but I would think then the content format that you're in, that's exactly correct. Let me give you a 7-day challenge to make you rethink how you do blah 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 blah,
Mm,
and then in those 7 days you got them. But in a 30 to 45 minute
wow.
talk, maybe not. Maybe not the right place to challenge directly because you don't want to piss off the audience and like kind of leave them hanging on a challenge. But in like a span of like they know that it's got a definitive start and finish, and you're gonna try to change their thoughts on something. I think that could be pretty effective.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Actually, I should do like a 7-day challenge on my YouTube channel or
Yeah.
something like that.
And change your, you thought that
Um,
you couldn't do a YouTube channel in 7 days. Well, I'm here to change it. The other thing too is you give them a premise that they really didn't have anyway. Like, you're giving them a belief that they actually didn't have in the first place. You're like, yeah, that does sound like too short of a time. And then you can, oh, Mr. Whiskers.
it's
Uh,
Arthur. He's called Arthur. This little
oh,
man.
good looking guy. Good looking guy. Yeah, give them an idea that they didn't know they had, and then break that because that's very breakable. It's a position that they didn't hold
Yeah,
for that long, but maybe they're holding it for a second, and then you can convert them. Yeah, I would do it that way.
yeah. I was looking into it and I was like, okay, there's something called procedural knowledge and there's something called declarative
Okay.
knowledge. So it's like, for example, when I watch your presentations, one of the things that I get the most value from is like the stories that you
Mm,
tell about history, about scientists, for example. So interesting. And then there's also procedural knowledge, which is like, here's how you do
mm,
X, Y, and Z. But the problem with that is like, especially if you want to sell from that, people are like, oh no, I'm good. I've got the action points
yeah.
right here. Like I'm gonna do that first, and then maybe I'll buy it
Yeah.
later.
No, that's exactly right. Uh, Again, people buy from people. They're going to turn to people that they like and they trust when they need something, and they're going to remember like, oh, that guy, I liked what he was talking about, or that gal, she really made some great points here, and her topic was on this, and then they're going to go search you out after that. That's I think the better way to do it, so that you are knowledgeable. You demonstrate that you know what you're doing, but you do it in a fun and interesting way, so that when they need your service or they might need your service, then they're gonna be encouraged to go and find you, or at least find a little bit more about you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. What other skills have you? I mean, obviously you're great at SEO. You're great at public speaking. Are there any other skill sets that have really helped you, or you've really mastered like this? that have helped you along the way?
Public speaking does take up a lot of time. Yeah, that's not, and
Yeah.
it's not a static thing. I do think it's a learned skill. I'm an introvert, by the way. I'm not an extroverted person by any stretch. I would much prefer to stay home. But I am really good at talking to people, and and I don't mind doing it. And I think I'm good at it. And so, like that networking kind of skill, I think a lot of it translates to them to be able to speak. But I think it's a learned skill. I do think that you can figure something out. That's the line from that song. It's like 100 bad days makes 100 great stories, and 100 great stories makes me interesting at
Mm.
parties. Like it's extremely, that's all it is go experience life, write down some stories, tell them at parties, tell them in your talks, and you become a lot more interesting. So that's certainly a skill that I think I work on that, and how I'm going to present. I mean, all of this is performative. I mean, this it's just. I mean, it's who I am, but it's all part of the act. And when you see me on stage, that's just an amped up version of myself. Um, Really, because when you're on stage, you're performing, and when I'm on this, I'm performing. This is performative, Kyle. But it's just a little bit more ramped up version of myself on things that I think I'm good at and that I've practiced and can do. So yeah, I don't know. Interpersonal skills I've been working on a lot. Maybe I don't know if I've mastered it, but I think I do all right with it.
What about for 2026? What's in store for you?
Man, I do feel like my prompt game is weak. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think my prompt game could be better. The main thing that I use ChatGPT for is write this stupid email for me. Like there are times when I gotta like write an email and I gotta put in some data and I just don't want to do it and I procrastinate for forever and I'm like, wait a minute, and I can just like vomit it all out to ChatGPT and it organizes it really well. That saves me a ton of time. But I think I can do better. I need a better prompt game, so I'm gonna maybe. Does Julian Goldie have a course that I can take on how to prompt?
I have the AR Profit
There we
Boarding
go.
community, so it's got like, yeah, it's got a lot of good like prompts and systems inside there. There's nothing, I wouldn't say there's anything specific on like exactly here's how to prompt, but there's like a full AI automation masterclass in terms of like here's how we use all these systems to
Yeah.
automate YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and everything else. So I think that's the best thing is like how can you take all this stuff, all these possibilities, and turn it into something that actually grows your
Sure.
business? Like that's the most important
Kind of
part, right?
the learn by doing on something that's actually useful and effective.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, it's the same. I don't know if you ever seen it, but like for example, there's a lot of videos on YouTube about how to use
Yeah.
NA10. But NA10 is like quite nasty to use for someone who's
Yeah.
non-technical, who just wants to get stuff done and move quickly, and you don't want to be connected in APIs and mess around with HTTPS. And so it's kind of like, okay, that's great, but let's talk about stuff you can actually do inside your
Right.
business, right? Let's talk about, okay, what stuff could you use to promote POP, for example?
Yeah. I'd also like to get an agent that does like organizes my emails a little bit better than what I'm doing. That's got to be a time saver as well. If I could get 30 minutes back a day on just like my email organization, there must be an agent that's doing well. I do have concerns though. They're going to read all my emails and send all my data somewhere. Is that a concern that anybody still has, or is that just me being old?
I think there's still a lot of concerns like that. Yeah, especially, for example, private data. That's why people like local models.
Mm,
Because when you use a local model, obviously it's siloed into offline. But it's funny you say that because the one that I've seen that's the easiest to use right now is Google
okay.
Workspace.
Well, I mean, they've got all the data anyway, so like trying to stop them is just
You
pride.
can you see you can basically just type in what you want, like manage my emails or organize them in this way, and then it will build out a workflow automated for you to do that.
Way, way back in the day, when computer banking was just starting, somebody was like, "Well, let me get this straight." So now all the banks are on computers now, and they're like, "I was like, yeah," and he's like, "And all the computers are run by Microsoft." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Why don't we just give Microsoft all the money now?" And the answer was pride. You know? Like
Well, it's the same
that's
with
the same thing with Google. They've
Google.
got all the data. Why don't we just give them all the money now? And it's just pride.
Yeah, and they've got all the best AI tools. Like, I mean, you look at. Do you remember we used to talk about Google Bard and how
Yeah,
bad it was?
yeah.
And now they've got like the best image generator, they've got the best
Really?
video generator, they've got the best media generator. Yeah, so like Veo 3, Nano Banana, for images, and then also for media, I would say NotebookLM is probably the best tool out there
I don't
right
want
now.
to get into that, like to like make fun, like meme type. Nothing useful for business.
Yeah,
I
you
just
can.
want to make stupid stuff. Send it to
You
my
can
friends.
make Google
Send it to
memes
my
all
friends and
day.
like get a giggle and move on with my day.
One of them, I mean, like just taking it for a practical example, like for example, if let's say I'm doing a live stream, I need to whip up a high quality
Yeah.
thumbnail in like 30 seconds. So I can just take like the old thumbnail that performed extremely well with the highest CTR, put it through Nano Banana on Gemini, and just say tweak this so it says Minimax 2.2 instead of
Okay.
2.1, and boom, thumbnail
Perfect.
done. And you know it's going to have a
Yeah.
high CTR because it
Already
did
tested it.
before.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, little stuff like that I need. That's my New Year's resolution for 2025 or 2026. Slightly better prompting and learn these little hacks to make my life a little bit better.
Yeah, that's it. It's the same for me. It's like everything that I do is through the filter of, okay, let's do this AI
Mm,
first. If it's something that repeats, it's got to be
sure.
automated.
Sure. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like on top of it a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and then I felt like I let it slip a little bit. I want to get back on top of my game.
Bro, you can wake up one morning, new update is out, and you're like, oh, I feel like I'm months behind again
Exactly.
already.
So I'm gonna try to find a wedge where maybe they'll be a little stable, and then I can learn all my stuff and at least get a good enough foundation where I can handle it myself from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think some of the things that I don't see change so often are like image generation, video generation, and humanized
Sure.
writing or sentient
Hmm.
writing. Like I think those three things tend to stay very
Sure.
consistent.
Okay. Right on. That's perfect. That's all I need.
Yeah, awesome. All right, cool. Well, what's the best way for people to contact you? Thanks very much for
Oh
being
yeah.
on.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always a good time with you, man. Um,
Yeah, you too.
you know, I'm pageoptimizer.pro is where I'm sitting. So I'm on there all day. If you have a question, you can probably go through the live chat support and it'll get to me eventually. By eventually, I mean soon. Because I'm usually keeping an eye on that. We've got our free academy too, which actually isn't bad too. Academy.pageoptimizer.pro. If you like the sound of this voice, you can get several hours of free content right there.
Who doesn't?
If you're like, I need more Kyle in my life in 2026, go check out our free course.
We could have a AI, a voice agent with Kyle Roos voice on.
We're actually playing with that a little bit because there's those stupid little videos where like, oh, go over here and click the orange button, and then the orange button turns green, right? And then most people can't figure out that the green button was the orange button, even though it's in the exact same spot. And so you need to tweak the video. It sucks as a human to go and then make one little video for that one little
Mm.
thing. So we're playing with like a little AI Kyle those can be changed on the fly.
I think for courses like the AI agent, especially, is really really cool. Like for example, if I'll give you an example. This week I've released two courses about Notebook LM. One of them was my humanized one that I released yesterday. One of them was a collection of all my AI avatar videos in a course. The one with the AI avatar videos was 1 out of 10, like the best performing video we've released this week. The human one was the worst performing video we released this week.
Man, I've been really wondering about the uncanny valley, where people understand that it's not really you. Will they be turned off by it? And maybe you're seeing the answer to that question is no.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think like when I look at even the click through rate, the CTR, the watch time, all the engagement metrics are like right up
Wow,
there. Yeah.
that's insanity.
It's
That is
crazy.
crazy.
It's crazy. My ego was up here. Now it's going down
Surely people
here.
want the real me. Nah, no. We prefer.
Awesome.
Julian, please. Can we see him again?
Yeah, can we just get rid of this human guy? I don't know who he is.
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Awesome, man. Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah, right
Thank
on,
you.
right on. Take care.